Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop a like, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So lots to negotiate on this video today, but I'm just going to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Sean Longstaff from Newcastle. Now according to Sky Sports, Manchester United have held high negotiations with Newcastle about Sean Longstaff. It has confirmed that Manchester United have not yet, put any official bidding for Sean Longstaff, and I do believe these talks had taken place last weekend, according to Sky Sports. But I do believe, Manchester United are still in negotiations with Newcastle over getting a deal concluded. I think Newcastle have indicated out they are reluctant to sell Sean Longstaff because obviously, Rafael Benitez has resigned as Newcastle manager. Obviously, Newcastle have lost Perez, so I do believe, Newcastle do believe that that Sean Longstaff is part of their plans for their future and all that. So Newcastle are reluctant to offload him. I think reports were reflecting out early on this week, or was it last week, saying that Manchester United were preparing to put around a £30 million bidding for him. Whether this is going to be enough to convince Newcastle to offload him or not, I do not know. He was officially valued from between 25 to 30 million pounds, but reports did reflect out, I think, earlier on this week, saying that Newcastle were demanding at least 50 million pounds for his current services. So this is why they've put the hefty price tag on him, because obviously Newcastle don't want to lose the player. Obviously, last season. Obviously, last season was his first season in the senior squad with Newcastle. He had made his debut in December of last year. I think he played about 13 games under Rafael Benitez's guidance last season. And I do believe he thrived under Rafael Benitez's guidance. He signed a contract term in December, so he's on the contract term with Newcastle to 2022. He's only 21 years of age, plus he's British, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United this summer. And I do believe that Sean Longstaff has got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United, of course, if he does come to Manchester United and all that. So obviously he probably won't be intending on spending the rest of his playing career with Newcastle, but Newcastle are reluctant to offload the current player. So he did initially begin his career with Newcastle. He also had loan spells with Kilmarnock. He also had loan spells with Blackpool. But I still believe that Sean Longstaff is recovering from a knee ligament injury. He had sustained this in March, so he didn't play the last couple of months of last season due to this injury he had sustained. So I do believe he's regaining full fitness. I think he's primarily central midfielder. Obviously, I think he's mainly box-to-box midfielder. Like I said, only 21 years of age. Obviously, he's going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's policy, is getting the pursuit of young upcoming players and all that. And I think Sean Longstaff, would fit the Manchester United agenda, really, really well. So I think it's very essential that we do get this deal over the line. I think in this market at this day and age, probably between 25 to 30 million pounds is reasonable. But I think over the 30 million pound mark, I think Newcastle are asking for too much. So if Newcastle say they want 50 million pounds, I think basically, in my opinion, Manchester United should withdraw their interest, because I think 50 million pounds is too much. And with Sean Longstaff, if he did come to Manchester United, to be quite fair, I don't know if he would be assured, to get first team football, week in, week out. So I don't think he'd be guaranteed, to play week in, week out. So I am very sceptical about that. And with Bruno Fernandes, if he comes to Manchester United, he's going to be assured to get straight into the first team. Obviously, he's more experienced than Sean Longstaff is Bruno Fernandes and all that. But we do need reinforcements, of course, in that midfield. Obviously, we need a replacement for Ander Herrera. Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, Ander Herrera's left. Obviously, we saw Fellaini leave back in the January transfer window. Obviously, we're doing Antonio Valencia left the club after he served 10 years with Manchester United. But obviously, we did get our replacement for Antonio Valencia through Wan-Bissaka, and obviously Wan-Bissaka is going to be our first choice right back, of course, going on into this season and all that. And I do believe Wan-Bissaka can be our fullback for the next decade. But I do believe Wan-Bissaka's defensive abilities are good, and I think he's got all the ingredients required, to become a huge success at Manchester United and all that. With Daniel, with Sean Longstaff, I've got the similar sort of thoughts, about Daniel James. I know Daniel James is he's a good signing for Manchester United, I do believe, but again, I don't know if he's going to be assured to get first team, football week in, week out. I do probably believe Manchester United, will put Daniel James on the left, because obviously, that's where he's supposed to be more effective, but I don't know if he's going to get guaranteed guaranteed, first team football, of course, week in, week out. But we do know we have got 2 players on the board so far this summer. We have spent £65 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on this, and he's going to want to bring at least 2 or maybe even 3 more new additions to the squad, because you can still see the deficiencies in the squad, and you can pinpoint the areas where Manchester United are lacking. We still need an experienced centre half. We need a couple of additions in that midfield. But I do believe now these are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities. We need a right winner. Obviously, of course, if Lukaku leaves the football club, obviously, we are going to need a replacement for him. But for the entirety of this window so far, we have been mainly, focusing on the incomings. But I also believe, we need to orchestrate on selling players, to help the club generate funds and, of course, rebuild the squad. Because it did come out around 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that allegedly, we've only been given £100 million to spend. Did provide a reason, because obviously we failed to qualify for the Champions League, for next season. But like I said, £100 million is nowhere near enough, to address the deficiencies in the squad. But like I said, there's been so many players on our agenda. I think Manchester United have blatantly, made it clear, we are not willing to overspend on our current transfer tax. And quite a few people have pinpointed out, we should be sensible over our recruitment this summer and all that. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. And I think we are moving away from the policy of signing them well-established players. But we have got to get the right players in, to get Manchester United back, to being a competitive elite level football club. Solskjaer's obviously got to meet expectation levels, going on to this season. I do believe probably our expectations going on to this season probably will be to finish in the top 4 and all that. And I think our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. I don't think we'll be challenging for the league next season. I don't think we'll be even win the league next season, but I don't think we'll be winning the league for the next couple of seasons and all that. So we have still got a lot of catching up to do, and there's still lots work to do in the current squad and all that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say in his press conference yesterday, he says, and I know that as well, there has been a lot of talks and speculation about many of our players, both ins and outs. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, he's spoken to the vast majority of our players throughout the course this summer and all that. So he's spoken to Lingard, he's spoken to Lukaku, obviously he's spoken to Paul Pogba and all that. And look what he said in his press conference yesterday. He did praise Paul Pogba and all that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is aware of the speculation. But Solskjaer did say, we don't have any bids for our players. He says we basically, don't need to sell players. But he also said, we don't need to currently overspend on players. And we have, we've got quite a lot of aging up players, but we've also got quite a few young players. Obviously, we've got young players upcoming and all that. Diego Dalot's one of them. Obviously, we got Diego Dalot last summer. Was it from Porto? Obviously, he's the upcoming future and all that. And obviously, with Mason Greenwood, he did well towards the back end of last season. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did confirm his press conference, he's going to be assured, more game time going on into this season. So he's going to get promoted to the first team as Mason Greenwood, which is very, very good, because his performances for the reserves have also, been very, very impressive and all that. But like I said, we need to add reinforcements in that midfield, because obviously, we've got the likes of Matic. He's too inconsistent. He's not getting any younger now. He's aging up. He's too slow. He's too ineffective in that midfield. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice midfield trio, obviously, when he got recommended in last season and all that, it was obviously Herrera, Matic and Pogba. But obviously, he had to rotate this, quite a few times. Reflecting on the amount of injuries we had sustained last season and all that. But like I said, with Matic, I've got too many strong reservations about him. And I think Manchester United need to get rid of Nemanja Matic and all that. But too slow. You got McTominay. He's too inexperienced. I know McTominay did prove himself towards the back end of last season, but I'm still sceptical, about him being the long-term future for Manchester United. And I have this similar sort of thoughts, with Fred again. Fred did prove himself towards the back end of last season. I don't know if he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. Obviously, Fred is one of our most expensive signings. Obviously, we did pay £50 million for him, but I still don't know if he's the long-term solution. I think he's probably more mobile and better on the ball than the Nemanja Matic. But yeah, we have definitely got to address that current midfield. But there has been so many midfielders on our current agenda. But so Sean Longstaff, hopefully, we can get a deal concluded for this play. But I did say to you the other week, I was hopeful Manchester United could get 2 signings completed. Obviously, my hopes went out the window. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, this is before we went on pre-season tour in Australia, of course, he did basically say he wanted to get at least one more signing on the board. Obviously, before we did go on pre-season tour, so obviously, his hopes had gone out of the window. But we've only got 4 weeks now, I think, remaining this transfer window, so we have got to speed it all up and all that. We've got to be more competitive in this summer transfer window. So hopefully Sean Longstaff can come in. Obviously there has been a lot of talks, I think, since the weekend about Milkovic Savic from Lazio. I think his move to Manchester United is dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba, because there has been quite a few players in our agenda, who could replace Paul Pogba at the football club, because obviously it's looking very imminent now that Paul Pogba is going to be leaving Manchester United, and he has blatantly made this clear. Yeah, so Milkovic Savic, reports have been reflecting out today. I actually read this in Sky Sports, and it did reportedly say Manchester United are preparing to put around a £72 million bid in for him. Maybe this isn't going to be enough, to convince Lazio to offload him, because according to Sky in Italy, the Lazio president has confirmed, that Lazio want around £90 million for his services. He has served 4 years with Lazio. I think he scored 31 goals in 138 games for them. He signed a new deal last October, so he is on the contract with Lazio until 2023. I think he has been relentlessly linked to a move to Manchester United, because I think we were also in for him last year, but I think Lazio were demanding an extortionate amount last year, and this is the main factor reason why we didn't get a deal over the line for him. I think, if I'm right, last summer, I think Lazio wanted somewhere in the region around, was it £120 million, is it, or something like that. But I think a couple of teams have inquired about his services. I think Manchester United are in talks with Lazio over possibly getting a deal finalised. I think Milkovic Savic's agent had travelled to the UK at the weekend, obviously not to hold negotiations with Manchester United, but I think we're all willing to get a deal finalised for Milkovic Savic, of course, if Paul Pogba leaves the football club. So he's moved to Manchester United, he's dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. So reportedly Manchester United have submitted around £72 million bid. Like I said, this could be too insufficient for Lazio, but he is only 24 years of age. He's 24 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Of course, he's Serbian. But there has been a lot of talks about him, going on since the weekend. So I do believe now we've identified him as one of our priority targets, of course, to replace Paul Pogba at the football club. But I do believe Milinkovic Savic is technically a good footballer. I think his work ethnic's very, very good. I think he holds his line really, really well, and still got a lot of years ahead of him. So do you believe he's got all the attributes to come and succeed in the Premier League if he comes in? Do you think he'd exceed expectation levels in the Premier League? But he has shown in his 4-year period with Lazio that he can score goals, he can create chances and all that. I think he's been inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 months, as Milkovic Savic. But Manchester United, of course, have been in there for him before. So do you think he'll be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? He's going to cost us quite a bit of money, but obviously, if Paul Pogba, of course, gets sold, we can generate funds from his departure. We'll probably get over £100 million for Pogba. Then obviously, we can put them, the funds that were generated from Pogba's departure on Milkovic Savic and all that. But I think he is primarily a central midfielder. So this was coming from Sky in Italy today, saying that Manchester United have put around the £72 million bid in for him. Obviously with Bruno Fernandes now, obviously I've been keeping you up to date of what's going on with Bruno Fernandes on a regular basis. Obviously we do know that Bruno Fernandes is one of our is one of our priority targets. Obviously, for the entirety of the summer, Bruno Fernandes has been relentlessly, linked with move to Manchester United and all that. Obviously, I think Bruno Fernandes has held, he has met up with his agent, to negotiate with his agent about a potential move to Old Trafford this summer and all that. So he's met up with his agent to have negotiations with him about a potential move to Manchester United this summer, because I do believe Bruno Fernandes has notified his representatives that he wants to join Manchester United, and I think he has actually, rejected Liverpool, he has rejected Tottenham. I still believe that that Tottenham and Liverpool are still in there for Bruno Fernandes, even though reports came out the other week saying that Tottenham and Liverpool had withdrawn their interest, and it did allegedly say Manchester United were the only team in the running to sign Bruno Fernandes and all that. But the transfer saga does continue to persist about Bruno Fernandes. I think reportedly Manchester City have held talks with Sporting Lisbon this week. I think Bruno Fernandes' agent was allegedly in the UK last week to allegedly thrash out a deal with Manchester United, and I do believe Bruno Fernandes' agent has held talks with Tottenham, he's held talks with Liverpool, obviously he's held talks with Manchester United and all that. But like I said, Sporting Lisbon haven't been quite reliable, throughout the course of this window in regards to Bruno Fernandes, because obviously Sporting Lisbon did say around, was it 6-7 weeks ago now, that he was going to be going to Manchester City, and it was looking likely at one point he was going to be going to Manchester City, but obviously City had currently withdrawn their interest in the current player, so City have basically opted out the race. But I think we've been considered the favourites to sign Bruno Fernandes, at least for the last, 3 to 4 weeks, according to a ball. The Portuguese press came out a couple of weeks ago saying that, we do know talks have been ongoing between Man United and Sporting Lisbon and his agent and all that. But it did say a couple of weeks ago that we've allegedly agreed personal terms with Bruno Fernandes. It did allegedly say that he has agreed a contract worth around 100 grand a week. But obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. So I do believe the fee is the stumbling block. The fee is the actual stumbling block, at the moment of, Bruno Fernandes making his proposed move to Old Trafford. I think reportedly we want to get him for as low a fee as we can. We want to pay around £32 million for his services. I think Sporting Lisbon have made it clear, they want somewhere, well, initially they wanted around £60 or £70 million, but I believe Sporting Lisbon are willing to offload him for around £53 million, and I think Federico Fernandes, the Sporting Lisbon president, did confirm this. So I think he also came out of Sky Sports, was it last week, and he said that there has been talks with Bruno Fernandes in regards to his future. So he has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation, but we do know Bruno Fernandes, will dramatically improve us. I think he's primarily an attacking midfielder, only 24 years of age. Did say quite recently that Bruno Fernandes' transfer to Manchester United had been delayed. I don't really know why. Is it something to do with the situation about Paul Pogba? But I don't think regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba anyway, I still think, we should get, Bruno Fernandes should come in. I still think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans anyway to get 2 new additions in that midfield, even if Paul Pogba, was to stay at the football club. But it did say, is possibly Paul Pogba, with Paul Pogba's situation, is he delaying Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United? I don't think he is, because I don't think, Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United, I don't think his move to Manchester United is not dependent on, of course, what happens with Paul Pogba. But Bruno Fernandes has got still about, 4 years left on his contract with Sporting Lisbon. I think he did sign a 5-year contract last summer. His initial release clause is around £88 million, but obviously, Manchester United, we've confirmed we are not determined to go anywhere near that figure of paying his release clause off or going to a figure anywhere near, to trigger his release clause. But he has been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons. He's teared up in Portugal. Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. But him coming to Manchester United, he's going to bring us them goals in that midfield. He's going to rejuvenate the team. His tenacity is really, really good. His work rate, and that's really, really good. And I do believe he's got all the attributes to definitely succeed. And I think he'll definitely exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. Obviously, he began his career in Italy when he was younger. He he spent the majority of his career in Italy when he was younger. He played, I think he had quite a few years with Sampdoria. Obviously, he played with Udinese and all that. I think he also played for Novri, and he's obviously, wherever he's been, he's scored goals, he's provided, he can also create chances. So I think it's very essential that we do get this deal over the line for him. I think it's more essential that we get Bruno Fernandes than Sean Longstaff and all that. But hopefully, we can, bring both of them in. But we do need at least 2 new additions in that midfield. Some people have even said, we need 3 new additions in that current midfield. But yeah, who should replace Paul Pogba at the football club? And, there's been talks going on about Saul Niguez, and I think there was talks about Saul Niguez, currently going on last week from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, we've identified him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. Saul Niguez, of course, is 24 years of age. Obviously, he can play as a central or a defensive midfielder. Obviously, so far, he has spent the entirety of his career with Atletico Madrid, graduated from their youth system, and I think he's gone on to play over 200-odd games for Atletico Madrid. He has got a long contract with Atletico Madrid. Obviously, a couple of years ago, Saul Niguez did sign a 9-year deal, a 9-year contract. So obviously now I think he's got around 7 years on his contract remaining. I am very, very sceptical that he will see that 7-year contract term out of Atletico Madrid, because I do believe within the next 7 years' time he would have moved on from Atletico Madrid, the current player. But potentially he's going to cost us a substantial amount, because I think Atletico Madrid, are basically playing hardball. Obviously, the ruthless in regards to their player, and I think they are reluctant to offload him. I think the only way they are going to be willing to do business with a player, of course, if Manchester United are willing to trigger his release clause, and his release clause is a substantial amount. I think he's got a release clause of around £135 million, Saul Niguez. I think he's also been linked with a move to Manchester City. So do you think he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? I'd just like to know in your comments below. I'd just basically like to know in your comments below and all that. Obviously, as I've been updating you as well in the last, 2 to 3 days about Mario Lemina from Southampton. Obviously, he's been subjected to quite a lot of transfer speculation in the last 2 to 3 days because, as it's reported out, saying that Manchester United are interested in him. Also, Arsenal have inquired about his services, and also we do know that Leicester have inquired about his services. But I updated you yesterday, didn't I? Mario Lemina has informed Ralph Hasenhüttl that, of course, he does currently want to leave Southampton, but he does want to continue playing his trade in England and all that. He wants to continue playing his trade in England because he's confirmed he wants to stay in England, but he has indicated out, that he does want to go to a big club, Mario Lemina, to rejuvenate his career and, of course, take his footballing career to the next level. Obviously, Mario Lemina has not, has been left out of Southampton's pre-season trip to Austria, so maybe this is one of the main factors why he wants to leave Southampton. But yeah, he told Ralph Hasenhüttl, of course, that he does currently want to leave. I think Southampton did give Mario Lemina permission to talk to other clubs, so I do believe Manchester United have been in talks with Mario Lemina over the possible switch to Manchester United this summer and all that, so he has spoken with other clubs. He has still got 3 years left on his contract with Southampton. He's been at Southampton a couple of seasons. I think he's made 56 appearances in all competitions. Well, sorry, not 56, 52 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, 46 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. But I think Southampton are open to selling him. I think Southampton will be looking to recoup the initial £80 million that they did pay for him from Juventus a couple of years ago. But he is available for reasonable figure. He's only 25 years of age. He's a Gabonese international, but 25, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Like I said, he is primarily a central midfielder, so he's mainly a box-to-box midfielder. So do you think he'd blend in our midfield very, very well for us to come in? Like I said, Mario Lemina's had 2 years of experience under his belt in the Premier League, but he's been mainly out of favour with Southampton, reflecting on the injuries he's sustained, especially last season though. So do you think Mario Lemina, would be the right type signing for me? I don't think he'd be the right type signing for Manchester United. I do believe he'd be more like of an Arsenal type signing. But yeah, like I said, box-to-box midfielder mainly, but his versatility is very, very good because he has played in various other positions. I think when he was younger, he's been deployed as a winner. Obviously, Manchester United have been searching for a winner. I think he's also played as a full-back, he's played as a wing-back, he's also played as a central defender. So his versatility, is actually, really, really good. But I don't think he would be the right type sign there for Manchester United. So I don't believe there's a lot of credibility in Mario Lemina coming to Manchester United. I think he did say he's happy to either come to Manchester United or Arsenal, even though Manchester United and Arsenal, cannot offer him Champions League football. So I don't think, he's really, really bothered, but he just basically, wants to leave Southampton. Obviously, when he was younger, he began his career he began his career in France, didn't he, with Lorient, graduated in their youth system. Then obviously had a couple of years with Marcella, I think, and all that. I think that's when he was playing as a centre-back, during his time with Marcella. Then had a couple of years in cheering with Juventus. I do believe he has played alongside Paul Pogba, as Mario Lemina. He has played alongside Paul Pogba. So so I don't think there's a lot of credibility in him, coming out to Manchester United. But again, do you think he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? But yeah, there has, been so many midfielders on our current agenda. There's been talks of Christian Eriksen coming in. I don't think there's a lot of credibility in Christian Eriksen coming to Manchester United. I think also Christian Eriksen is linked with a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, Yuri Tillemans was on our agenda, but obviously now he's joined Leicester for £40 million. Obviously, Manchester United we're in for Yuri Tillemans. But yeah, there's been so many midfielders, of course, on our current agenda. But like I did currently say, I think Darmian should be sold this summer. All right. Yeah. I think Darmian should be sold this summer. I also think Rojo should be sold this summer, and I think we can generate around 25 or 30 million pounds for their departures, because obviously both players have endured difficult times at the club. Darmian hasn't really been given the chance, and like I said with Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected. The amount of injuries he has sustained. So I think we need to sell them. I think Sanchez is going to continue playing his trade with Manchester United. Going on into this season, because the club have obviously found it very, very hard to offload him. Reflecting on his substantial wages. Like I said, we know David De Gea is staying now. He's on the verge of signing a new contract. And, I did say another problem with was a problem with Manchester United. We did let far too many players' contracts run down. But very, very good news. We have resolved this now, which is very, very good news. Obviously, I think, was it last week, we give Andres Pereira a new deal. Obviously, we give Axel Tuanzebe a new deal. Obviously, we give Juan Mata a new contract a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, last week, as it confirmed, we give Marcus Rashford a new 4-year deal with an option to extend it by a further year. He's set to, he's going to receive around 200 grand a week, is Rashford, but with bonuses involved, I think it'll rise up to around 300 grand a week. Obviously, Martial signed a 5-year deal back in January. Smalling and Jones got long-term contracts last season, which was bad business for Manchester United because they're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Obviously, McTominay, I think, got a long-term contract last season. Also, Ashley Young got a 1-year extension. So we have resolved, it was a problem that we was letting far too many players' contracts run down, but I think now we have currently resolved that problem, which is very, very good news. But yeah, very happy that David De Gea is on the verge of signing a new current contract. But I think Manchester United probably have got to sell Pogba. We have to sell Lukaku because they're looking at it, they are our two most expensive signings, and obviously, both players have been relentlessly linked with a move away from the club. And I do believe, we can generate around £200 million for the departures of Pogba and Lukaku, and that's definitely going to help us with our rebuilding process. And of course, that's going to help us with our current transition and all that. But as big news has been coming out about Romelu Lukaku today. Obviously, it's confirmed that the Inter Milan director has travelled to London today, to hold negotiations with Manchester United to thrash out a deal for Romelu Lukaku, because we do know that Romelu Lukaku has been relentlessly linked to a move to Inter Milan. We do know for the entirety of the summer, Lukaku has been negotiating about a move to Inter Milan because he is keen on making a move to Inter Milan and all that. And, basically, talks have been going on for several weeks. I do believe that that Romelu Lukaku has been absent from training, as I have also, been reading up today. But yeah, he's Antonio Conte's number one target. But obviously, looking at the reports yesterday, it did say Lukaku, wants to leave Manchester United because Lukaku doesn't think, he has been treated, Lukaku's unhappy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the way that he's been treated for the last 6 months. So maybe this is one of the main reasons why he wants to leave the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did hold talks with Romelu Lukaku earlier on this week, pleading him to stay for one season, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say he wants Romelu Lukaku to remain at Manchester United for one more season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is trying to, keep his imperative players at the football club. But obviously, as we all do know now, that Lukaku is surplus to requirements at Manchester United, because obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, obviously Lukaku's found himself surplus to requirements, and obviously we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. So I don't think Lukaku is currently satisfied about this. But yeah, he's been heavily linked with a move to Inter Milan. Obviously, we've said we want around 75 or 80 million pounds for him. Obviously, Inter Milan are not willing to meet this valuation at this present time, and this seems to be the stumbling block at the moment of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. So we said we want around 75 or 80 million pounds. We're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago. Obviously, Lukaku has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. Reports did reflect out early, I think over a month ago. It said allegedly that Lukaku had agreed the personal terms with Inter Milan. He also said he had agreed a deal worth around 180 grand a week, but obviously no fee as yet come to an agreement. Obviously, like I said, Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target. Obviously, reflecting back a couple of years ago when Antonio Conte was the manager of Chelsea, he wanted Romelu Lukaku at that point, but obviously he ended up making the move to Man United. Lukaku recently described Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world, so Lukaku's keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance. So basically, I think Inter Milan are looking to try and offload one or two of their players, to help them generate funds to meet that 75 million or 80 million pound valuation. But Inter Milan are struggling to do this at the moment. Obviously, Lukaku's agent, Federico Pastorella, he basically gave us an update the other week. He said Inter Milan are desperate to sign him because Lukaku's agent has had quite a few talks with Inter Milan. And obviously, he did classify the move as complicated, obviously reflecting on the huge asking price we've put on Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, he's been heavily linked to move to Inter Milan. But I do believe Manchester United, should basically sell him. Obviously, as reported out today, that Inter Milan are reportedly willing to make a 2-year loan offer for Romelu Lukaku. So they do want to loan Lukaku out for the next 2 seasons. So it does reportedly say they want to get him on a 2-year loan worth around £63 million. I think there's also an obligation to buy included in the deal. So reportedly did say Inter Milan will pay around a £9 million loan fee to take Lukaku out on loan. Then further payments of £27 million in June of next year, and then another £27 million in June of 2021. So obviously that amounts up to around £63 million. Probably more than likely, or should I say, it will probably happen. Manchester United will not entertain this offer. Will turn this offer down because we're only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal and all that. So Inter Milan have inquired about getting him on loan. We're also unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us, because they've obviously tried offering us Mario Cardi. They've also tried offering us Ivan Perisic, but again, Manchester United haven't entertained these current offers. But Lukaku's been at the club 2 years. Obviously, he scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions in his 2-year period here. He was exceptional in his first season, but didn't really replicate this form, of course, in his second season, Romelu Lukaku. But I have currently got strong reservations about him, and he is still only 26 years of age, a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. But I think we need to get rid of him, and obviously if he does leave the club, obviously we are going to need a replacement for him, because that was another problem last season. He wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal, wasn't scoring enough goals, and obviously the likes of Rashford and Martial at the moment aren't reliable enough to get us them goals that we do need, and it's, they're not in that, they haven't emulated that level yet. It's going to take Martial and Rashford a couple of years to get them to that level where they do currently want to be. But it's definitely still the long-term solutions for Manchester United. But yeah, I think Lukaku probably will end up leaving the football club. But Inter Milan have obviously travelled to London today to hold more extensive talks with Manchester United and all that. But we won't be willing to accept a loan offer. Won't be willing to accept a current loan offer. As I've been updating you, Manchester United definitely need a central defender, and I think that's also an imperative area, where Manchester United, of course, do need to strengthen up. I've heard some people saying it's probably more essential that we get a couple of midfielders in the winner. So some people think them areas are more essential than getting a central defender in, but we've definitely got to get a central defender in, because reflecting back last summer, our priority, of course, was to get a central defender in. But obviously, reflecting back last summer under the Jose Mourinho era, obviously, the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in there to the club, because obviously Mourinho had bad disputes with the board, had bad disputes with quite a few of the players. These are the couple of main factors reasons why it didn't work out under him, even though we did spend just under £400 million on 11 players under the Jose Mourinho era. But we need at least one central defender. We need someone that can complement Victor Lindelof in our back line. Some people said we need 2 central defenders, because obviously Smalling and Jones are not good enough. We have got Eric Bailly, and maybe still is a long-term solution for Manchester United, and I know how much of an imperative player that Eric Bailly is, but I think Eric Bailly's Manchester United career has been affected, with the amount of injuries sustained, obviously, with his fallout on the managers. I think it's had a really bad effect on Eric Bailly's career and all that. But yeah, we need at least one central defender. So, like I've been updating you on a regular basis with in regards to Harry Maguire from Leicester, I do believe now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified, Harry Maguire is his number one defensive target and all that. So he has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. I think Leicester now are convinced that, Leicester are convinced now, that Manchester United, will pay what they're currently demanding. Obviously, Leicester do want around £85 million. I think Manchester United want to get in for around £75 million. So that's obviously the same amount as what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk in January 2018. But I do believe it's going to take a world record fee for the defender to convince Leicester to currently offload the player. But I think we're in now pole position to sign him. Obviously, Manchester City have now withdrawn their interest, because City are only willing to pay in the excess of £60 million. City won't pay no more than £60 million. And it was looking likely a couple of weeks ago that Manchester City were going to get Harry Maguire Maguire. You know, they were orchestrated his salary. City were willing to pay around 280 grand a week and all that. You know, City were going to get him for the world record figure of £80 million. But obviously the price has put Manchester City off, so they will not pay, of course, what Leicester are currently demanding. It came out from Sky Sports the other week, you know, saying that, you know, we had put a £70 million bid in for him. Obviously, you know, this bid was too insufficient for Leicester because they want a bit more than £70 million. I think it also said we've offered £70 million, plus we've offered Leicester, you know, Rojo as part of the deal for Harry Maguire. I think we've offered a couple of players, but Leicester, you know, are keen on a straight cash deal. Are keen on a straight cash deal and all that, but you know, we have got issues defensively, and that was proven last season because we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season in 38 Premier League games. Obviously, our highest total, of course, in the Premier League, in the Premier League, I think, for 40 years. So that just proves the issues we've got defensively. You know, we haven't had a world-class central defender, you know, since we had the likes of Vidic, and of course, since we had the likes of Fernandes. But Harry Maguire, very, very good player. I think he's informed Leicester, you know, that he does currently want to leave because obviously he wants to rejuvenate his career. Obviously, wants to take his footballing career to the next level. And I think, you know, he's indicated out he wants to go to one of the top 6 clubs. Looking at it, ultimately, Leicester know how much of an imperative player he is. Obviously, Leicester don't want to offload Harry Maguire. They don't want to offload him. This is why they've priced him out of the transfer market. This is why, of course, they are demanding an extortionate amount for the player because basically, you know, Leicester don't want to currently sell him and all that. But he does confirm that talks are ongoing, and talks have been ongoing for several weeks, you know, between Manchester United and Leicester. Also, Manchester City, of course, have held talks with Leicester. But like I said, Harry Maguire, 26 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him, plus he's British. Like I said, he's proven in the Premier League. His distribution's good, his tenacity's good, he holds his line well, he shows that ability to part from the back. I think his work rate's fantastic, as he has proven for club and his current country and all that. He's been absolutely fantastic. I don't think he's really fast, Harry Maguire, but I don't think that's currently an issue, so haven't got too many reservations about that. But he's been at Leicester a couple of seasons. Obviously, you know, Leicester did get him for £17 million from Hull a couple of years ago. He signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so I think he's still under contract with them until 2023. But I think Mike Phelan has actually instructed Manchester United to get a transfer prioritised for Harry Maguire, because obviously Phelan has obviously, you know, managed Harry Maguire. Obviously, Harry Maguire has played under Mike Phelan's guidance. Obviously during his time with Hull, but actually, you know, Mike Phelan only had a short tenure with Hull. But yeah, I like Harry Maguire a lot, and I hope Manchester United can get a current deal concluded for him. So looking at it, ultimately, like I said, we've got 2 players on the board so far this summer, but he actually, you know, could be our 3rd summer signing, could Harry Maguire, but we have obviously got to break the bank to get him. I think it did say Alex Ferguson, you know, wants Manchester United to currently sign the player. But like I said, you know, there has been so many central defenders on our current agenda, as you all currently know. Like I said, he was one of our priority targets at one point, but I think Delit's now out of the equation. Obviously, you know, Koulibaly, he's been on our agenda for a long, long time, and I like Koulibaly a lot. But I think Napoli have looked to offload. Don't really talk about him anymore because I don't think he's going to be coming to Manchester United. Obviously, there's still people talking about Toby Alderweireld from Tottenham, but with Toby Alderweireld, I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to bring him in. I know he'd be still a great upgrade than what we've already got in our defence, and he's available for a reasonable figure, and he's available £25 million this summer. And obviously, Alderweireld's going to substantially cost a lot less than Harry Maguire. He's going to substantially cost a lot less than Dele. He's going to substantially cost a lot less than Koulibaly. He's even going to cost less than Issy Diop from West Ham. But like I said, I'd have reservations, you know, if we were to bring Alderweireld in. You know, we have been in for him since last summer. Haven't heard much rumours about him lately. But I do believe he's going to be leaving Tottenham because obviously, you know, he has refused to sign a new contract. But I don't believe, you know, Alderweireld is currently coming in. Like I said, about Issy Diop, you know, the rumours are still going on about him. Obviously, you know, Manchester United has set their interest up in the play for the last couple of weeks. We have been in for him in the last couple of weeks. I think West Ham did say they wanted in the excess of around £60 million. Of course, if they were willing to offload Issy Diop. Issy Diop probably would be a cheaper solution than Harry Maguire. Obviously, Harry Maguire is more Premier League proven, but Issy Diop's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Last season was his first season in the Premier League. I think he played around 38 games in all competitions for West Ham. He's also very tall, which is beneficial. 22 years of age. Still got 4 years left on his contract with West Ham. West Ham did get him only last summer from Toulouse for around £22 million. Reports reflected out last month saying that allegedly Manchester United put around a £22 million bid in for him. Sorry, not a £45 million bid, sorry. And he said we also offered Phil Jones as part of the deal. So reportedly we had a player plus cash offer allegedly turned down by West Ham. And I think it did say last week that, you know, we was willing to put our first formal offer in for him, and it did say we was he's willing to offer around 45 million. I haven't read much about, Issy Diop quite lately, so I will get a bit more additional information up about him. But like I said, there has been so many central defenders on our current agenda. But hopefully we can see vast improvements going on into this season. Looking forward to this tour, like I said. Obviously we've got Perth Glory coming up at the weekend. Obviously then we've got Leeds United coming up as well on the 17th of July. But yeah, always going to keep you up to date of what's going on with the transfers. Obviously there's only, like I said, 4 weeks remaining this current transfer. Obviously, what I've seen so far, what teams have done transfer activity this summer. Man City obviously haven't done any transfer activity yet. Liverpool haven't done any transfer activity yet, but they've still got players on their agenda they're in for. Liverpool looking at ultimately don't even really need any players because, they've addressed their deficiencies well. They've invested well in the last couple of windows of Liverpool. Obviously Arsenal, I think, have they just signed William Saliba, if I might, or are on the verge of signing William Saliba. I think they also got someone else in. As you all know, Arsenal have got a tight budget. They've only got around £45 million to spend. Well, between 40 or 45 million pounds to spend. Chelsea obviously can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows because they've got a current transfer ban. Obviously, like I said, Tottenham have signed Jack Clark and Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. Obviously, Jack Clark has been loaned back to Leeds for next season, and then obviously, he does make the return to Tottenham. But yeah, like I said, we've got to be more competitive in this window. And like I said, time's running out with Lukaku and Pogba because there's only 4 weeks left of the window. So are we selling them or are they currently staying in the club? But like I said, it's looking like Paul Pogba's going. Watching that interview yesterday of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. It's looking likely because he's going to be leaving because he was peppered with questions about, Paul Pogba. He was peppered with questions about Paul Pogba. He was also asked questions about the quotes that his agent, Mini Raiola, did come out with on Friday of last week and all that. And he didn't really look confident as I thought he would have done. He did praise Paul Pogba throughout the press conference, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deep down knows how much of an imperative player he is. But I think he's seeking for a new challenge, as he did confirm last month. Real Madrid and Juventus, of course, have been relentlessly linked with Paul Pogba. But yeah, I do believe he's going to be leaving the football club. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I hope to say he's got the abilities and he's got the stature to get us in that commanding position where we do currently want to be. Like I said, regardless of who our manager is, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, regardless of who our manager is. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. In my current opinion, that's what he's basically doing. But I hope we don't sack him because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. We've already sacked 3 managers since Alex Ferguson's retirement, and we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. And the main factor reason why we've been a toxic club because obviously we've been mismanaged. This is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. Players have come in, and of course players have gone and all that. But like I said, you can't expect managers just to come in, get you to that level, where you do currently want to be. It does currently take time, and like I said, there's lots to address in the squad. And reflecting back with the Alex Ferguson, he took him 4 years to currently win a trophy and all that, and he was on the verge of getting the sack, and then look what he went and achieved and all that, because obviously under Ferguson we was bossing the markets, we was getting the players we want, the players that we wanted. Obviously, he was good at developing young players, and that, was Alex Ferguson, and hopefully, we can build a team that can reflect what the team, did and achieved under Alex Ferguson. We do know there's still some players here now from the Alex Ferguson era. There's still about 4 or 5 players here. But like I said, analysing the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got a bit of experience as a manager, not really to the highest level. That can be a bit concerning. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under Alex Ferguson because he flourished under Alex Ferguson's services, guidance. But we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got a fantastic fan base. Our stadium's absolutely ecstatic. Obviously, one of the biggest stadiums in the UK, not the biggest, but one of the biggest stadiums in the UK. Obviously, we've won 13 Premier Leagues, 20 all in all, so we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world and all that. But hopefully we can get the right players this summer that can, take Manchester United forward. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on this channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.